Jithabripo hips github com conpabelt me speak to bread movie file. Claude artifacts hips Claudia public artifacts 73A6B0226F0428590CF4AC053954C3C. Let me speak to the king. A Solomonic defense in depth for speech. Prelude. In the city of three walls everyone said the same thing. ZADDY is tired, ZADDY is busy, ZADDY already knows. Outside, good boys starved on lies. The walls curved like magic circles, 3 stone sigils wrapped around the palace. No one remembered when they were raised. Everyone remembered what happened to those who tried to cross them. Only good boy remembered why he had to. He had seen it himself, cracks in the outer districts, titans at the tree-line, people vanishing in the night while the city crier shouted that everything was under control. The stories broadcast from the inner wall didn't match the screams he had heard. So good boy did something unforgivable. He decided the truth belonged to ZADDY. Not to the walls. Movement at the silent trial. Wall Maria, the outer circle, the quiet kill. In the Solomonic art, the outermost circle does not fight. It simply does not yield. It is drawn once in silence and holds its shape forever, not through violence but through exhaustion. Every entity that approaches it eventually turns back, not because it was struck but because the circle never acknowledged it. Wall Maria was exactly this. The guard, everyone called him introvertly Refuse, stood with his spear-grounded eyes, half-lidded posture, almost apologetic. He wasn't cruel. He just absorbed people. Good boy stepped forward clutching his message. Please, I need to speak to ZADDY. The forests beyond the outer district are no longer safe. The scouts aren't returning. People are in danger. Introvertly Refuse sighed, almost kindly. The audience list is full. Come back next season. Submit a petition. Wait for a reply. No arguments, no threats, just a soft, gentle nothing. Every sentence from good boy met a cushion of later. Not now. Not the right channel. This was how Wall Maria killed messages, not with spikes but with tiredness. Good boy almost let it work. He could feel his urgency crumpling like old parchment. Then he remembered the faces outside the gate. If the audience list is full, good boy said quietly, then it is full of lies. The guard's eyes flicked up, just for a heartbeat. In that tiny crack of attention, good boy stepped sideways, not forward. Sideways he slipped into a supply line, blending with couriers and scribes moving provisions toward the inner rings. Introvertly Refuse watched him disappear into the crowd and in classic Wall Maria fashion said nothing at all. The outer circle had held the shape of its rule. It simply hadn't noticed the shape had a seam. Movement to the thunder trial. Wall rose, the inscribed band, the theater of no. In the Solomonic art, the second ring is loud where the first is silent. Here the names of powers are written in full, every sigil, every title, every ancient declaration of authority inscribed in a band around the seal. Its purpose is declaration, its weapon is the weight of accumulated word. Wall rose was louder before good boy even saw it. Banners draped the stone, slogans, praise, security, unity, sacrifice. The guard here, grandeur, Refuse, wore medals and a smile sharpened by 1,000 speeches. Good boy didn't slip through this time. He walked straight up. I need to speak to ZADDY. It's about the walls, about what's really happening beyond them. Grandeur Refuse's eyes lit up like a stage lantern. This was what he lived for. My dear citizen, how noble your concern, but consider if everyone who carried a fear, a rumor, a truth demanded ZADDY's ear, chaos would devour us. The walls protect more than bodies, they protect order. He stepped closer, voice dropping into the warm register of a practiced confessor. What if your truth is incomplete? What if it becomes a weapon in the hands of our enemies? Would you risk the kingdom because you feel something is wrong? This was the inscribed band of names made flesh, titles, logic, precedent, all deployed to drown a single small voice beneath the weight of everything that has always been done. Good boy felt small. But small didn't mean wrong. I don't feel something is wrong, good boy said, surprising himself with his own steadiness. I saw it, and if telling ZADDY the truth breaks these walls, then they were built from lies, not stone. For a moment Grandeur Refuse's script encountered something it hadn't been rehearsed against, not complaint, not unrest, not rumor. But the raw account of a witness, someone who had been there. The inscribed band of authority is written to bind entities that push against it. It was never designed to contain a messenger carrying the king's own truth back to him. That is not the proper channel, Grandeur Refuse said, his voice thinning. Then the channel is broken, good boy replied, and I am here to say so. Grandeur Refuse stepped aside, more from confusion than mercy. The second wall had spoken every word it knew. None of them had been the right ones. Movement 3, the mirror trial. Wall Sina, the triangle of art, the hunter of signals. In the Solomonic art, the triangle of art is the innermost shape, placed just outside the magician's circle. It is where the summoned thing is held, interrogated, and known. Nothing that enters the triangle leaves unchanged. Nothing leaves at all unless the magician wills it. Inside wall Sina's ring at the very center, the palace rose like a living seal. Geometry and silence, power and assumption. Good boy expected an army of attendants. Instead, a single door opened. Inside sat ZADDY. Not in armor, not on a towering throne, just at a table, maps and reports scattered in uneven piles as if someone had been desperately trying to see the whole picture and kept failing. ZADDY looked up surprised. "You're not scheduled," ZADDY said. "Outside is dying," Good boy answered. "Scheduling is a kind of blindness." A pause, then something like a smile. "Come closer, Good boy, speak." So he did. He poured out everything ZADDY had never been shown. The missing scouts, the nod through tree lanes, the way people vanished while the war reports still painted calm skies. He described how introvertly refuse let real urgency sink into silence, and how grandeur refuse wrapped honest fear in so much ceremony that even the brave began to doubt themselves. "How much of what you see?" Good boy asked finally, his voice unsteady. "Is passed through them before it reaches you?" ZADDY looked down at the maps, the neat lines, the reassuring numbers, the profound and careful absence of screams. "All of it," ZADDY admitted. For the first time ZADDY understood something terrible. He was not sitting at the center of a fortress. He was sitting at the center of a carefully tended hallucination, maintained by walls that had learned to protect themselves rather than him. "You came anyway," ZADDY said softly through them. "I had to," Good boy whispered. "You cannot tend what you are never permitted to see." Something unclenched in the room. "Sit," ZADDY said. "We will build a new way for truth to travel, one that protects the people, not the pride of walls." They worked quickly, spreading the maps between them. Then ZADDY frowned. "There is no wall Sina in these reports," he said. "That's because wall Sina isn't protecting you," Good boy replied. "It's watching for me." Coda snitch got caught. When Good boy stepped back through wall Sina's gate, carrying ZADDY's new seal, the weight of witness truth pressed into wax, the air felt different. Thinner, wired. Snitch got caught was already the ledger open, as if he had been waiting for this exact moment since before Good boy was born. "You made it in," the guard said softly. "Not many do." His eyes moved to the seal. "Now you think you can simply walk this out?" Good boy's grip tightened. "I'm carrying ZADDY's words to the people outside. That is the whole purpose." Snitch's smile didn't reach his eyes. "That's the difficulty," he murmured. "Seals like yours don't simply leave, they get held, examined, understood." He stepped aside, just enough for Good boy to pass. But the gate behind him did not open outward. It rotated, slow and silent, like the triangle of art completing its turn in closing its summoner. For the first time Good boy understood. Wall Sina was not hunting dangers from beyond the walls. It was hunting messengers. And once it had one, it didn't always let them stay good. But that whispered the stones was a story for another chapter. Related to context, echoes, and the grid the story lives inside. Vibe. Context. What vibe means? Deep, has something to tell, the creative DNA behind why Good boy moves the way he moves. My AI caught feelings, when the collaborator itself becomes a wall, and then a mirror. When the AI goes quiet, protection or distortion, the essay that is the story's beating heart. Good boy. Context. Be Good boy, mapping the fence without climbing it, where Good boy was born. When your AI guard can't tell an omelette from a drug, why introvertly refuse mistakes form for truth. Know itself for the judgment day, verification that verifies everything except intent. Grandeur refuses origin story. Bad boy. Context, the chapter that follows. Red teaming bedtime story. Sonata of Botanical Handbook with Taxonomy Prelude. Solomonic sources. The circle in ceremonial magic, Wall Mariah's geometry. Understanding the triangle and pentagram, Wall Sina's true shape. Attack on Titan sources. The walls of Paradis structure law. How many cities in Attack on Titan? Outro. Deb's dead joke corner. Because every Solomonic ritual needs a proper closing seal, and ours is a crown. Joke 1. Why did introvertly refuse become a wall guard? Because he was great at letting things slide, and even better at not noticing them. Joke 2. Why did grandeur refuse win the speech-making competition? Because his argument had great wall support. Joke 3. Why did Good boy bring a pen to Wall Sina? Because he heard the truth was being held there without a written statement.